Welcome back to another episode of A Record of My Father. Today, we're going to be talking about hopes and fears, not to be confused with our past episode, Fear, which was about past fears. This is going to be about future fears, what we're fearing coming up in the tomorrow, in the next hour, in maybe the next month. So, what are you scared of, huh? What are you scared of over there?
Losing my clothes in a mall.
Yeah, that's a recurring dream for me. Oh my gosh.
I know this is what's so weird. It's like when we talk about the hopes and fears, it's like I think I have immediate ones, big ones, societal fears, I have hopes. I mean, I guess my things are more when I think of society, it's just like I hope that we as a country will come together more. I hope that we will be able to see each other's views and accept each person for the shortcomings that we perceive in the other person's views and still move forward as a country but I fear that we will just say fuck you and that'll be the end of it. And that's what worries me, is that we push the bully narrative, and I start to see stuff that bullies are good, and you're like, no, don't start
I
that.
don't know. Well, I'm just happy that the election in general is over. I'm happy that
Yeah.
that's done. And even in social media, I've seen a drawback from the divisiveness, the comments that are always like, "Oh, leftist, rightist, this, oh, these people, that, this, that, or the other." And there's a major drawback in the amount of incendiary comments, which makes me happy. I don't know. And
Well,
a lot of
do you
it's 68% is bot based, right? So you got to expect that. But I
that's the
don't know.
weird thing, is like billions were spent on convincing each side that the other side was wrong. But you also wonder, and you're hearing this more and more, is that are a number of people frightened when you start to see the what people have often called the mainstream media bend to the incoming administration before it gets here and start to write rosier things about it. And you're like, and they were doing that right at the end there. So it sort of seemed odd to me that to me, when people talk about free press and stuff, it's the ability to talk to power and to say what you think to power, when now that power is saying they're going to put them in jail.
Yeah, the American propaganda machine is at a full tilt in these past
Yeah.
couple of years. But at the same time, there was a podcast I was listening to. It was so funny. It was Tim Dillon's podcast, and
Yeah.
he was it was like a highlight that I saw the other day, and he was talking about how what was it that you remember when Epstein died, and
Yeah.
they just said, oh, the security guards fell asleep. And he's like, how lazy is that the government said that they just fell asleep? They used to generate all these fantastical lies and all of
Well,
these sort of
you
circuits with
have
what was the JFK assassination, right?
he was
Oh
under
my gosh.
suicide watch. Number one, he was under suicide watch, which means they're supposed to check him every few hours. So
What
and
security
and
guard falls asleep?
and
I don't know.
and
That seems
the video
crazy.
that was where they were and on the way in was somehow disabled. So there's no way to see if somebody else came in, which the video is usually there all the time, 24/7, 365. And somehow during when he was killed, and they could figure it out, or died or committed suicide or whatever, whatever the particular popular narrative is, that the video just happened to break during that time frame, which, it's kind of like what cops do when they cut off their video right before they shoot somebody,
Yep, the flip of the switch. I
Yeah.
think my hope for the future is that the government gets better at lying again, so that I feel more cemented as an American. I think that I want them to become better at lying, so
Right.
that it's not as translucent, that we can't just look through these lies.
I I want I want horrible behavior to be less acceptable. I want, and this has been going on since Bush when we started the Guantanamo, and so I've known, we've tortured people forever.
Oh yeah,
We've always done that, but I think that in my opinion, once you make it legal and you have a actual facility, Guantanamo, where you can take people and torture them, it ratchets it up like 10x.
Well, I think about Abu Ghraib too. And I think
So
about the woman
yeah.
got what was it? She got convicted, right? For
Yeah.
the broom handle stuff and what have
Yeah.
you. And then she went to jail or prison, sorry, for I think it was like 5 months or something like that.
Yeah.
And we don't even really look at our own people and say, "Oh, you deserve this," because of the dehumanization of the enemy, right? And the enemy is this wide swath of people that are just
Well,
brown at that time, right? The Islamophobia.
She had a boss, and that boss had a boss that ran that complex, and there were multiple people in different areas charged, and of course the woman goes to jail,
Of course.
and no one the up the ladder, so to speak, had any negative repercussion. I think somebody they retired, and it's like, so you torture someone and the way to get off is to retire, and I mean we see this so much for the elite, where the way to get away with something is to retire and leave, and then everything's okay for some reason, which I don't know why it is. I think you should haunt them until they die, but that's just, I mean, we do that with, well, we did that with the Nazis that had the death camps. They're still they're 80 years old, and it's like, dude, he beat the shit out of people that were in a prison, and he tortured them, and he watched them die, and he did this with children. Fuck if 80 years old.
A good example of ageism. Yeah, I think ageism plays a very
you get away. I mean, I'm old enough that, hey, I'm old. I raped 75 people when I was 50. You should hurt me now. I'm old. It's like, no, we should set you on fire in the fucking public square.
No matter what. That's what I was worried about with Weinstein as well. When he went away, I was like, oh, are they gonna let him out because he's gonna claim that his hips hurt or something like that? And there was attempts. Yeah. There was many attempts to get him out of Rikers.
Well, he had well, and then they would have killed him then.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was Weinstein, not Epstein.
Oh yeah, Weinstein.
Yeah, different.
But Weinstein's been in and out. I think he's out now, but he's sick and hurt and wounded.
Yeah, you're right. He actually did eventually. I think after months, if not years.
I mean, I've been reading about how he's, one step before the grave for the last 3 years, and you're like, well, maybe you need to give him a push.
Just
is that
maybe
is that cold-blooded?
A heavy push, I think.
I think the thing is that I suffer no bad feelings for people that their whole life have been one particular way, and then all of a sudden they get caught, and somehow I'm supposed to show mercy, and I'm like, no, I'll light the match. I will pull the trigger. I will swip the electrical switch. I have no problem with that. I mean, it's the whole, who's the guy? Not for a crime. The United Health guy that just got blown away in New York.
Oh yeah.
We're shooting this.
We were talking about this in the last episode too.
Yeah, this is on 12/9/123, and everybody's like,
still talking about it.
Pretty happy that he was whacked. And there's a lot of people with recrimination coming out saying, well, you shouldn't be, two wrongs don't make a right, and all this other kind of stuff. Like, I'm saying, this guy has been there for 20 some years. He's been in a senior management position where he had an opportunity to speak up about people that were being denied. And then he becomes the CEO in 2021. So that is 3 years ago. He's had time to implement a policy to reduce the number of people that get denied. And he's doubled it. So when you think, and when we say denied, I think that the thing that I think about is I think about the kids that had chemotherapy, babies that have chemotherapy. They were denied anti-nausea medicine. I mean,
I didn't even know that. I think about the amount of people that live in the rural south in these areas that have their wages garnished and that are working two jobs at minimum wage, and they break their leg in an accident or
Or
something like that, and then they have their wages garnished for the next 20 years. It's absolutely absurd, and they can barely
I
afford gas, and they have three kids. I think that that is crazy to me.
I just read the story where the guy said he United Healthcare, and he was telling the story, and he was 30 something. I think it's on LinkedIn, and he had a heart issue, and they wanted to do a angiogram or something like that on his heart, and it cost $7,000. But with insurance, it was 200, and he could make 200, but there's no way he could do the 7,000 otherwise to be homeless because he didn't have that kind of money. He was a teacher or something like that. So they said no, and he goes, okay, well, I can't get it then. So he doesn't get the thing, and then at the end of the year, he has a heart attack. That exact aorta exploded. Well, there's a 94% death rate when that thing happens, and that's what they were trying to avoid. Well, for the next year and a half, they spent $1.5 million bringing him back to life, and he's never really going to be what he was before because he's got a damaged heart now. And it goes back, and it's like he's asked every doctor, and they said, absolutely, if you'd have had that screen, we would have solved it, and it would have been like 10 cents on the dollar. But you were expected to die, and you're thinking like, and that is the decision that CEO made when he's wiped out literally tens of thousands of people's doctors say that you need to take this, you need this test, you need this, not that there's all this thing about having your own doctor and having their own recommendations, but if they're not going to, but if some healthcare guy out there in left field for profit motive is not going to pass it, well, then why the fuck do you have doctors? It makes no sense to me that you have a double vetting group, and it's only about because it costs money. It's not because it's not a good idea. And then they'll say, well, we don't recommend that. That's not this, that's not that. And then like me, I'm in a lucky position that if they say you don't need this, I can go get it anyway, because I have enough money to survive and not be homeless. 75% of America doesn't.
We're forgetting a lot of people. We are forgetting a lot of people here in this country.
When he says no, that in many cases leads to cripples, debilitating diseases, an advent of obesity, or the slow cut off of limbs when you have diabetes. And if you don't take insulin, you slowly lose your toes, your feet, your ankles, your hands. You lose.
As we know.
And you think about that.
I think that what we really need to get at is also hopes for the new year. I think that
my hope with the outcome of this is that they see the light, that people say
with the assassination, you're saying.
Yeah, right. I hope that changes the minds of healthcare companies. I hope that the new administration comes in and says, well, the best thing we can do for America is we can push these guys back to a 10%. They're now at 25 cents of every dollar goes to their pocket, so to speak, administrative. And they're pushing for more. Can we see it go the other way to where your money is actually used for your health care? And for all those people that don't have money, can we make sure that they get some sense of, doctor care, hospital care, something to that? That's my hope. My fear is that it won't happen.
I know. Yeah. And as for me as well, I think that it won't happen. I think that's my fear as well.
Yeah.
But also, man, what were you saying the other day, that they took all of the people off the website, all of the heads after he got assassinated? Also, you've been seeing the photo churning around that they're like, oh, this is the guy. This is the guy. And it almost seems like an excerpt of McCarthyism at this point. When the guy in the photo, right? If you watch the assassination video, black jacket, black kind of like Marmont rain jacket, black pants. This guy that they've been circulating a photo about has a green jacket on with a hoodie,
Right.
with like a gray hoodie, and it's gonna ruin this guy's life. It's gonna
Well,
ruin his life.
I've seen it a bunch of different ways. I've seen it with a green one. I've seen it with a black one. I've seen it with a black backpack. I've seen it with a gray backpack. And it's like he has a black backpack and a black coat. And you're saying, well, but that guy has a green backpack, green coat, and a gray backpack. Well,
It almost seems like we're going back to the puritanical witch hunt kind of deal. Right?
you gotta be careful
Seems like
because
something
they
we love to
had
do.
remember the Boston witch hunt after the bombing
Oh yeah, I do remember
when
that.
they truly they what do you call it? They suspended all constitutional rights and went house to house and looked through people's houses whether you said yes or no.
It was martial law, yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, what the? And they thought they found the guy, and they had, and it wasn't him, and the crowd was beating the guy to death, and it wasn't him; it was somebody else.
I think what I love the most too is the NSA went to the bomber's house 2 weeks prior, saying, "You have these internet searches. We are not happy about this. What are you doing in your house?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just curious about buildings, this, that, or the other." And they're like, "Oh, okay, all right, you're fine." They leave. Bombing happens 2 weeks later. NSA and security theater in America is ridiculous. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's so
Well,
many
I think
examples
that
of that.
they have too much. You know, I mean, the whole Patriot Act in itself. I would that would be a hope. I hope they repeal the Patriot Act. There's so much looking over your neighbor's shoulders here. There's so much fear we have in the United States that we used to not have.
It's been going on since the 60s.
I would like to go back to a nation of hope that says, I hope that we can rejuvenate the planet. I hope that we can rejuvenate the horrible things. I hope that we find solutions for our ever expanding amount of garbage that we throw away. I hope, when I think about the hopes, it is what about personal hopes? I'm kind of jumping on the big macro bullshit there.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get back to. Is the
get off that, Phil.
Hopes, yeah.
What are your personal hopes, Zach?
Personal hopes for the next year. Completing this animated project. I think that's definitely on the board. And then
I'm knocking on wood right now. Knocking on wood. I believe that's going to happen.
Oh, I know it will. And then getting kind of the pre-production for this Haiti documentary. I really want to get that done. I want to see what's going to happen. I have a little bit of fear about that we're going to have to go in a different direction, which isn't always the worst part, because sometimes you find better things in different directions. But I would really like to see if we can make that happen. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
What is your hope?
My hope for me personally is that in the coming year that I pursue health better than I have this year. And I haven't been bad. I'm at about 10,500 steps a day on average, which is better than I did last year and the year before. So I'm upped it. I would like to go above 11 next year. I would like to continue to travel. I feel a little stagnated in travel on new places and things, and I need to get a little bit of I need somebody to burn me with a brand or something like that, or touch a lighted match to me and make me go, oh yeah, that's what I want to do. I need that. What do you call it? What is it when you need to do something right away?
Immediacy. I don't know.
Yeah, I need immediacy. I need immediacy for that. I think my relationship's good, so I'm happy there with my wife, with you. I think those are good, so I'm happy about that.
I don't really like you.
I think, well, you see, that's why I'm happy. And then,
you know what you could do? You could get a giant
I hope
map.
it will continue. I hope it will continue.
I think it will.
I hope that you find successes, and I really want to see the short that you did a preview this weekend, correct?
Yeah, we just did the screening yesterday.
What's it called again?
There Were Trees. It was a double
There
feature,
Were Trees.
yeah.
The thing is, every time I hear it, I say honeycomb trees were trees, dogs in the trees,
green trees,
but there
green
were
sleeves.
Trees. I saw it and I was absolutely shocked by the quality and the feelings it evoked from me. And I was just like, well,
watching it on the big screen too was entirely different.
Yeah.
Because you can really see if there's an issue with with the film, right? If
Yeah.
you're watching it on the big screen, and it made me very happy to see that there was none. I'm distributing that now. I'm doing that to different film festivals, making a plan, sending out envelopes full of
I
marketing.
want you to get in film festivals, and I hope for a win in one.
Yeah, I know.
Win, place, or show.
Definitely.
I'd be ecstatic if you won.
One that matters. One that matters, right?
Well,
Because that's the issue.
You can sign up for the Phil Brown Film Festival. There's only going to be one entry, yours, and you're pretty much guaranteed to get first place.
Well, there's a huge scale, right? There's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, and
this is the first place trophy.
Okay, I like this.
Yeah,
it's actually not even that hard to start your own film festival, funny enough. But that'll be good. Doing that now, developing a plan, setting up marketing materials, going to Staples, doing things like that, getting the word out, because that's really what you need to do. And then I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, the map thing, the idea. You know what they used to do on Crail Tap? So they used to throw a dart at the city of Los Angeles. It'd land on a street. They'd go to the street. They'd skate whatever was on the street, right? Yeah. And so you should do that with the world, or a more centralized map.
Oh, interesting.
Because you speak about the stagnation, and
I'm a person that I've been lucky my whole life. Maybe
not so much in the beginning, but
I don't know if it's luck. It's like I trip over things that interest me, and then I just run them to the end because I'm like, oh my God, that's great. That's a great idea. I'll try this. And I try it and I try it and I try it and I try it. And I figured it out. And I'm a person that'll I'll work on something like I worked on piano for like 2 months, and for me. And
2 months? Was that I thought it was like 2 days.
No. I was off and on trying to
Can you read music?
No, fuck no. But
you can't read music?
No, but I had a keyboard, and I had taped a key 76 key thing on top of it, and I was actually playing the tunes that it said, the chords. You could look at the book, and it said hit this key, hit this key.
Oh, I remember you put the letters. Yeah, the sticker.
Right, very, very, very brain dead way to do it, and it worked.
You ever think about just going to a place to take lessons from somebody? Because being autodidactic is so self-reliant, and you got to go. Yeah, it's so much easier if you go to a place because there's so much. Well, one, you learn faster, and then two, you got to go somewhere. You got to do it.
Okay, so take piano lessons. Is that what you think I should do?
You didn't really enjoy it though, right? Isn't that what you were saying? It wasn't what you thought it was.
Yeah. Well, I love this feeling, and when I hear piano, my hands just do this, which they just do that. And I will just I will tap on a table while the key is playing.
Well, I think there's the idea of liking something, and then the actual liking of the action, right?
Maybe it's that. Maybe
I enjoy the idea of playing guitar, but every time I pick up a guitar, I'm like, I hate this process. It's awful. My fingers are too big. That's my excuse, which just isn't true. But that's the one I'm running with.
It's not what touches you, and that's what you need. You need that. It's that's the whole thing with securities rules and regulations and stuff like that. Weirdly, I was talking to one of my buddies from the old company I worked at. And he was talking about the product they're going to do, and I kind of shat all over it, which I always do. And then I said, then I gave an idea for a new product, and I said, this is what you should really focus on. You should focus on putting something out in the next 45 to 60 days. The new administration is going to be focused on this. Everybody in the freaking world's going to be focused on this. You have the content. I actually just went through the content this morning, and I kind of bulleted it in my head what I would do if I was to develop a product that was going to be this. And you're like, but you're fucking retired, and I don't even care. I don't, and it's like, well, what? And I got on a call with him, and I just rattled off 20 things that he should put in this product and how he should design it and what would be the cool thing. And he was just like,
keeping the mind active is important. I think keeping the mind active is important.
Well, so it's also slip.
I think that's when people start having mental slips.
I don't do it to keep the mind active. I do it because I'm, what you do, what you really do, you do what you love. And it's like, if I loved guitar, I would do what your friend Grant did. I would just pick up the guitar every day and play. Just sit around and play with it and play and play and play and play. I like to visit different places, so I go to different places. I think if I wasn't married, I would just hop in a car and drive across the country. But I have freaking dogs, so my dogs kind of nail me down. But if I think about the things that I like to do, traveling is just something I really enjoy. Like in 2 week stretches, and then come back and hang out for a week or 2 or 3 to adjust, and then go back out. I think I like to. I'm doing too many silly games type stuff, but my hope is that I have a strategic plan, and I'm looking for that thing. And like as I was saying earlier, I usually trip over stuff that I like to do, and I'm looking to trip over something that will engage my mind. And I haven't tripped over yet.
We're looking for a chief merchandiser. If you want to do some merchandising, you could do that.
I don't know what that is.
Merchandising is in making merchandise or designing merchandise.
For what?
For this podcast and also for my production company. Because I got all these PDFs in these kind of file sizes that are for cups, t-shirts, sweaters, and things like that. Yeah. And I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
Well, I would see
a way to streamline quality. I think that's what everybody tries to figure out, is to streamline quality and at the same time making it affordable. Yeah.
Well, you can what you should do is you should find a place that will do it, and will do it for X dollars of cost for each unit, and up to a certain unit. And then you should just post the pictures, and you should do a picture of whatever the picture is of us on a screen, on a t-shirt, on a cup, a few other things like that. Put it on the website and say buy for $15 or buy for $20 or buy for $25. And even if you break even, that's great. You know, you can raise if it actually takes off, then you raise the numbers.
I can't wait to fill my room with merchandise.
But you don't have to.
You have to.
No, you don't have to.
You have to spend a lot of money on the overhead. Everybody knows this. You have to spend a lot of money on the overhead. Hey,
can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish? No,
I'm not allowed to. You need to spend a lot of money on the overhead so that you're forcing yourself to get rid of the units. That's what everybody knows. It's a great business decision. That's what everybody knows.
I think that's something that the country and the economy has done, and they've really, really changed in the last 2 decades. They've gone from having warehouses full of things to moving into, as Dell had figured out in the 90s, a just-in-time economy, where when someone orders a Dell computer and they want 3 ports instead of 2, and they want this, it's actually built there online, and they get it in 2 weeks or get it in however amount of time. Well, we're finding more and more, and we did this when we built our house in 2012, I think, 11, something like that, that there weren't, just ready-made, like they had 70 floor samples, and you couldn't go to a warehouse and just buy those floors. You had to send it to the manufacturing facility. They had to make them, and you get them in 16 weeks. It's like your kitchen cabinets. There aren't kitchen cabinets anywhere. You make them to order. Your floors, they're now, okay, you like this floor, we're now gonna run that through the sawmill and make it. We're gonna go cut the freaking trees down, or they're gonna do it that way. It's no longer people don't carry heavy, huge inventories.
No, not.
And if they do, I mean, the hardest thing the biggest inventory carrier you see right now are cars. Go to a car lot and you see, like, what do you got? $1 million sitting here? Wow, that's got to be eating a hole in your pocket. You got to carry that 12 months. Could you figure out a way that you didn't have to do that? Could you have a list of people that would sell their car for a certain amount if it was that number? And then you could be a facilitator between the two, and then you'd never have to carry a dime. Because you could really revolutionize the whole used car market if you set up a site that said, we want 12 pictures of your cars from this angle, this angle, this angle, this angle. We want a name, address, a number, and a purchase price for that car. Whatever it is, we want to make it $1 million, make it $1 million. No one's going to look at it.
Isn't Carvana kind of like that?
No,
They have a
Carvana.
vending machine, but then at the same
They
time,
purchase the car first, then they
they
hold
still do
it,
that. Okay, gotcha.
then they sell it.
Interesting.
Just like CarMax purchases it first and then sells it. But can you imagine cutting out CarMax and Carvana and you just have a thing? And it's like, well, it costs you $1.95 to post your car here, or it costs nothing. You post your car here, you get however many people that post their car, and you got to have a zip code because people need to know where the hell what country it's in that they're buying from, and what are their expected expenses and costs. And if you find a car, and anytime you want a car, you go online, you look, and there it is.
It's kind of like Facebook Marketplace in a way.
Right, exactly. It's
Interesting.
eBay. It's eBay for cars, but it's just cars. And I would think that you could. That would be something. It's probably already out there.
That's the only thing that I think about is it's Facebook Marketplace. You can freely post it. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but you can
those are
post
personal people. Yeah.
What if you could centralize? I want
middlemanning kind of somebody's own
instead
personal.
of taking 12%, which I think CarMax does, or 8%, which is what Carvana takes. You could take 1% because you're never going to have to hold on to any inventory. All you have is a website. Think about that.
With a percentage,
no inventory and everything, just like eBay. Nothing. All you do is you get a piece of the action that comes across your platform. And that to me is we sell cars, we buy cars. We don't buy cars, we sell cars. We sell cars. And then you could actually move it into different items and say, we sell used cars. We sell used any vehicle. And then you categorize it and you could grow it from there. It could be pretty darn big, I think.
Are you going to make a third company or fourth company? Is this the company you're going to start making?
No, it's just an idea. And this is what happens with me. I have ideas like that, and I start to run them down, and then it's like, I don't want to get together with somebody on the internet that's going to design a website for me and do a purchase price, and then I would actually go to eBay and I would kind of copy a little bit of the way they do the auction process because that seems to be the best, right? Yeah. And then I would go to the purchase price. I would go look at Amazon's and see how they actually handle purchasing because that seems to be the best, right? And then I would, and I would kind of like look at all the different ones that did that, and that's how I would do it. But it's kind of neat that you're following me down. I've done this before with many different ideas and items and things that I wanted to do, but never followed up on.
What does Picasso say? He says, "Great artists borrow, and then bad artists, or no, great artists steal, bad artists copy." There we go.
Right. Okay. I'd steal everything, and but I think that's something that could work. But that's just an idea. Anyway, my hope is to find something that I can sink my teeth into in the next 12 months that will engage me for 2 years or more. That's what I would like. I'm gonna hunt. I'm truly gonna start hunting. I think what I have been doing is most of the time in the past, I haven't really hunted. I've kind of tripped over, and it's always been in an industry I've already worked in, and I would just trip over this new thing. And it was sort of like all these things have been thrust in front of me that have made me financially successful and all this other kind of stuff. They just kind of fell in front of me. I mean, my wife just fell in front of me, and it's like, I was talking to a roommate who was a customer of ours, and I get introduced that way. And it was just sort of like, well, what, Well,
I think the way that you find hobbies and things like that is you throw a big net out. You try everything.
Well, see, that's you. That's the way you do it. Right?
Yeah. But you tripped over things because you tried things first, right?
I'm walking along. I trip over something. I see it. And then I'm like, wow, this sounds interesting. It catches my initial interest. And then so I try it. And then if I have a successful thing and it starts to grow, and then it can grow like a little bit. I mean, the last project I did with Jim, I did for 8 months. And then I just realized that we found a big, huge hole in it that the marketplace was not this, it was this,
But how did you trip over to begin with? It wasn't because you were trying something new. Is it not?
It was.
No, really.
I'm a data
familiar
guy.
places.
I was looking at data and.
I meant hobbies. That's what I more so meant.
Yeah.
And other things like that.
I mean, is my hobby to look at data sets? My hobby?
I was referring to other things other than your professional career.
When I think about hobbies is helping people that have less a hobby.
No, not really.
Okay. See, because I like to
What would you
serve.
even call that? I don't know that you
I don't know what that is. I mean, they call it
philanthropy,
philanthropy, but
yeah.
that's when you give money. But I would like to be more engaged, and I've done one, two, three.
Well, that's being
four.
of service, right?
I've done
Which I think-
five different. No, I've done five at the sea level strategic plans.
Oh, you're
and-
talking about that, not
Yeah, and that's stuff I know
not
about
charity,
that I like
okay.
to do, and I engage with them, and it's not just to get my money. So,
Mhm.
and they actually carry out the plans, and I talk to them about how they're going to grow their business and all that, because that's growing a business to me is really kind of cool and neat, you know.
No, you do
And
enjoy it.
But I'm
The
also,
acumen.
I'm a really, I'm hard because I'm very direct with people about what I think won't work and what will work. And I think that some people take that as an affront, and it's like, you know, if I say that that's not gonna work and you make it work, it's like, hey, I'm the loudest clapper there. I'm not gonna say, oh, you did it different. No.
Well, I think what you do too
I
is
was
you're
wrong. So what?
incredibly direct, and I think that also has saved a lot of people a lot of time and money as well. Because the way you're so direct and so maybe not aggressive is not the right word, maybe a little abrasive, but you need that, right? You need those questions, those hard questions. Those people then realize, man, maybe I don't really want to do this. Maybe I shouldn't pursue this, and then it saves them a lot of time.
Well, I had a person who was selling. He was like, he had this business that did this particular thing, and it did internally for law firms, and he thought he was the only one. And he said, and he was a friend of a salesperson that worked at our firm, and I talked to him for, it was going to be 30 minutes and it ended up being 2 hours, and we just started talking on the thing, and I said, well, what about this company? And he goes, what do you mean? And I sent him a link, and he goes, well, they do the same thing I'm doing. I'm like, yeah. Because I said, do you have any competition? And everybody goes, oh, I don't have any competition. I'm like, yes, you do. You haven't looked behind any curtains. And then I was like, what about this one? What about this one? What about this one? So there's a lot of people in the space right now. And where are you in comparison to them? Are you first, second, third? Do you have something that's advanced? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's really simple, you know, by the numbers questions that you would think that people would need to answer. It's like people when they want to start a business. You know, I want to have a coffee shop. And I was a judge for that. Oh God, I am bad. I am horrible. You know, well, where do you want the location to be? Well, where there's a lot of high traffic.
Good answer. Good answer. Not completely wrong.
No, that is good. And I'm like, so do you have any idea where that might be? Well, I want to do it over here. Well, do you have a lot of high traffic there? Well, not really. Okay.
That was like the Nathan For You thing the other day, where he uses parody law to start a dumb Starbucks, and it works and it's legal. And then he didn't have any food license to sell, but they did crazy sales in a week. But the original part, right, was to build this business for actually this coffee company in Los Feliz. And you know what's funny? You walk in this coffee company in Los Feliz, they're no longer existing for a reason. They don't even have a menu. They don't have a menu. They don't have prices. Really? And he's like, it's meant to be that way so that people come in here and they already know what they want. And I'm like, that is the most ridiculous concept I've ever heard. Because you know what it is? Menu styles have always threatened me. If they have small font, I can't read them. I don't know how to order. I'm not going to go there because I don't want to be embarrassed.
Okay.
Right? That's how it works.
Wow.
That's how the customer works.
Right.
You need to have very readable menu items or else
clear pricing has always been something for me.
Exactly.
From day one when people said, how much does it cost? And it's like, we gotta put this price. No, we want to have, you know, a price up here, but then we want to have 7 add-ons that they're not going to know that we're going to do when they buy this, because, well, there is delivery fee, and then there is the phone call fee, and then there's the hello, we were really nice to you fee, and then there's the postage fee, and then just like,
there's the thing though that when somebody buys something like that and then they feel like they were taken advantage of, that they will not use you again.
Well, yeah, and if you got one shitty customer is worth like 100 good customers, because they will badmouth you forever. It's like me and Hilton. Exactly. I mean, Hilton screwed me, and I told that story for now going on 25, probably 30 years.
And you know, we don't say that.
I was robbed at a Hilton, and
I was robbed at a Nick Hotel.
They did not they didn't do anything. They were horrible about it, and they wouldn't even extend my stay so I could wait for the police to fill out the report. And
That was crazy. That was the craziest
they
part.
wanted to charge me another day. Well, we can charge. We could if we can extend it for 2 hours, but that's going to cost you another $200. And this is in Minneapolis. Okay. Oh my gosh. And I went after him, and I really went after him. And I know that my brother at the time was he had say over a contract between where their salespeople stayed, and they do a 2 or 3 year contract for hotels, to get a discount. You go, okay, Hilton, I'll cut. Our sales staff of 80 or 100 will only stay at your place. And this is back when everybody traveled before they all did the Zoom crap. This is in the 90s. And all salespeople traveled all around the country. And his place, they traveled all around the world. And I told him that. And he was neck and neck Hilton and Marriott. And he was like, okay, they just lost. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? And that was millions of dollars when they guaranteed, like, I don't know, a couple million a year in revenue. And me telling him the story pushed him to go to the other. And he told that story to all the people that worked there. And that's why that they went with Marriott, not Hilton. So I don't know if it had a ripple effect, but it's like, they were like,
one can only hope that it had a ripple effect.
They were beyond shitty. I mean, I told people this all the time, and that company that I worked at that I owned for another, or partially owned, whatever, for another 10 years, I said, we will not reimburse Hilton, even if the other hotel you stay at is more expensive. We will not ever. If it's cheaper, no, don't care. Nothing. Fuck them. And we did that. And it was like, so the word went out, Phil won't pay for Hilton. And it's like, and I practiced it, but I've stayed there a few times since,
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I have, only because I'm lazy, and your show's usually at a Hilton. So if you can stay in the Hilton, you just go downstairs, and I'm fat and old. And, I figure I've cost him probably tens of millions of dollars. Which is funny. All they had to do was say, hey, we'll give you a free weekend stay or some one free day, or what the cool words would have been to hear? We're sorry. That would have been all I needed, instead of you want to extend your stay. And then how was your stay? Well, I got robbed. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry you think that.
I'm sorry you think that. That's a lot of the Yelp review responses that I've seen.
Oh my God. I went to the CEO of the company. And the chief legal counsel sent me a letter saying, we're writing you about the alleged incident. And all through the thing was about the allegedness of it. And I was just like, fuck you. And that's when I called all the investors, and I don't know if I had the price of Hilton stock dropping. Who knows? But yeah. I told them mine, and I said, if they do that to me, they do that to a lot of people. I'm not the only guy. And I had a little bit of money, so you would have thought, hey, and I was Mr. Honors guy, so fuck you, Honors, and all that. Oh, this is the hope and fear that we get off and talk about nasty hotel stuff. That is so funny.
Yeah, I think we're going to wrap up here shortly.
Oh, yeah, you don't have any more hopes or fears?
Not really, no. I'm not really scared of much. I went to the top of a mountain the other day. I was
really
out in Morro Rock, which is kind of like this trail in Sequoia Park, and it's just this big rock. And it's about a 1,000-foot drop or something straight down the side. And not really scared. I thought I was going to be phobic of the heights, but I was not. But fears for the future. Oh, well, here's one: procrastination, which is really easily solved. Isn't it funny that if you just start doing the work, that it goes away? Who would have thought that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you know who I heard? I heard that 2 weeks ago, and I've tried to live it, but I've been really bad at it. Sarah Silverman came on, and she goes, I start every time. She said, I'm a bad procrastinator, all this kind of stuff like that. And I figured out that if I start thinking about doing something, I just grab the dog leash, pick up the bag, do the stuff, do this, and I just start doing it. And then if I don't want to do it, I stop. As opposed to if I think about it, I won't start. And then there was another one I read about not avoiding procrastination was it takes 7 seconds for your mind to figure out a reason not to do something. So if you say, I think I should work out, you should start going into the garage wherever you work out and do it. And then as you're getting there, then you will say, well, why should I stop now? I'm halfway here. And that's a new decision. And then when you get in there, you go, well, then it's a new decision. Well, then it's a new decision because you've already decided you're going to do it. And it's like, that is the way to make incremental steps to success, I think.
Oh, I completely agree.
Small steps every day. That's what I'd like to, that's what I hope that I can do in coming years and the coming day. And next year, I would like to climb one mountain.
One mountain.
To do that. Yeah.
There's a lot of them to do too.
Well, maybe you and I could think about Whitney.
Yeah. Yeah, we could do that.
That's a tall enough one. It's physically hard. I'm 65. I'll be 66, whatever the hell it is.
I still think it's so funny you want to go back and do that again. I don't know why. Whitney.
I want to do mountains with you now because you matter.
Oh, really?
I shouldn't say that publicly, but
I might get the wrong idea.
You might get the wrong idea.
They might get the wrong
but
idea.
I think that to me is it's the same thing as this is. It's a shot in the arm. It's something that you're a person that I enjoy being with. You're by the times that we are together. I mean, the only thing I worry about is like I'm gonna die. And
yeah, I'm worried about that as well.
Well, yeah, if you die first, it's gonna be
not me die. You die.
It's gonna be harder on me than you. And if
if
I die first, it's gonna be harder on you than me. Because I'm gonna be dead. Who cares? Yeah,
they don't really care that much.
Well, you swallow and just think like, I don't want a person to think about them being gone. I want to remember what they were when they were here.
100%.
And hopefully that can make you smile more,
Yeah, this was on topic of what we talked about the other day.
When I think about, I will go back and I will say, when we talked about different things, and the thought that just popped into my mind was the thought of my mother. And I can think about her in the wheelchair when she couldn't do anything and how horrible it was. But the one thing that always kicks me is 1968 Ford Custom. She comes in with a big old smile, big giant hat. My mom's 5'10", big woman, not fat, but tall, and yells at me, "Go out there in the car. There's something underneath the seat for you." And I'm like, what I didn't say that because I was like 9 or 8 or 7 or something. I ran out there and I went and opened up the passenger side door and I lean underneath. I'm like, something's under the seat. And I stick my hand under there and I grab some furry thing and I start to pull it. What the hell? And then I finally like the head comes out from underneath the seat like this, just looks at me. And it was my first puppy. I almost died, that to me is, and then my mother's face, because she was standing right outside the car. I turned around and looked at her like, wow, that's what I remember. That's what I will take with me to my grave is one of my favorite memories of my mother. I'm sure there's many more. The one that she ran out the door with a baseball bat after the neighbor that threatened me.
Well, that's enough to give you hope, right?
Yeah. Oh, that was hope, man.
Story.
When you see your mother, you're at the front door, and the guy's like, "Well, if your son ever steps on my property again, I'm gonna beat the hell out of him." And he's like a 35-year-old man, and I was in second grade.
That sounds like you deserved it. I don't know.
Well, I probably did, but anyway, and my mother goes,
again.
"Just a moment." Turns around and like right where that door is behind me, takes 2 steps over there, opens up the closet, grabs a baseball bat. He sees her with the bat. He jumps off that porch and she runs after him. And he's a fat guy. And he's running across he ran across. She chased him to his house, into his house, and he shut and locked the front door. And she's tapping on the door and said, "I got to talk to you." And I could hear her. And I was in our front yard and they were across the street and down 2 houses. And I could hear her yelling at that door. And I'm thinking like, he ain't going to call the cops because what's he going to say? This woman was going to beat me up after I threatened her elementary school kid. I don't know, but that's another one of those happy, beautiful, wonderful moments.
Always
You know,
love
we all have
these
those.
vignettes. They're
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, this is hope and fear, and that's maybe that's happiness. I don't know.
I think so.
I hope you have memories like that.
Oh, I sure do. I sure
Yeah.
have a lot of them.
Wow.
Well, I think that's our show for this week.
Yeah. Well, we've covered some hope and some fear, and wow.
Yeah, another great
Yeah.
episode with you. But follow
Wonderful.
us on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and then the website as well, where you can access the free RSS feed and our
Yeah.
mailing list, recordofmyfather.com. Join us next week for another episode on Friday, noon PT. All right. We'll talk to you later, and hope you guys have a great weekend. Bye.
Party on.